What is going on, beautiful people? This is your favorite certified life coach, Hussam Abu State. Today we're going to be talking about toxic parents. Not necessarily in the sense that we're about to blame our parents who were maybe toxic or maybe just good parents who made mistakes, maybe made few mistakes, maybe made a lot of mistakes. We can never be free of mistakes as humans. However, this is about going deep in our emotions and turning them in order to separate the wheat from the chaff. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the ground without first plowing the earth. The seeds are not going to have a high success rate of growth. But what farmers do is that they would plow the earth first, turn it and turn it and turn it, and then plant the seeds. And that increases the success rate of the plants growing strong and becoming fruitful. This is rather metaphorically plowing the field of our emotions at depth to increase the likelihood of beautiful, resourceful, and strong crops that grow a firm and healthier foundation. Our coping mechanisms as children suppress and repress our emotions and don't get resolved, so they become trapped in our bodies and in our brain and then limit us moving forward. They warp the way we see the world. What happens during these events in our childhood is that our body responds with what is called early coping mechanisms, which activates the fight or flight response, produces adrenaline in our body, and it hyperactivates the amygdala part of the brain, and it deactivates the prefrontal cortex of the brain. The amygdala is responsible for our survival, also known as the fight or flight mode. Our prefrontal cortex is responsible for our intellect. This is our executive room, the decision-making room. When we are triggered, it turns off and the amygdala turns on, and we cannot see clearly. We're just concerned about our survival, even if it's at a subconscious level. And the more we experience such events as children, when we become adults, we have a baseline of fight or flight mode, and we cannot think clearly and we cannot make decisions for the future because our baseline is on survival mode, even though there may not be danger around anymore. If this is your first time to my channel and you enjoy this content, hit the like and subscribe button in order for the knowledge to reach more people. Also, check out my website for free life coaching tools to book one-on-one sessions to work with me, and for a discounted monthly membership where you get to meet with me 4 times a month one-on-one to do transformative work and unlock persistent emotional and mental patterns that hold us from optimizing our relationships, our careers, and our self-image. So what happens that when a child experiences a traumatic event and the amygdala becomes overly activated, and then that event and emotion are not properly processed, the amygdala does not sufficiently come back to an equilibrium. So it's our job now as adults is to come back to that emotion, to that experience, and resolve it in such a way that we continually bring back the amygdala into an equilibrium. This way, our baseline will not be survival mode anymore. It will become more and more a baseline of security, of confidence, of positive self-worth, and a healthier self-image. So this diving in the emotional memory can be very scary even for the most courageous of us. Yet it is the root of what is holding us back. And we can try to treat the symptoms, even though that may be a good idea. We will only have sustainable results when we treat the roots. A damaged sense of self-worth can be a result of events in our childhood, like being criticized or joked at for being stupid, ugly, or unwanted. Being overwhelmed with guilt, being sexually abused, or being desperately overprotected, or being forced into too much responsibility for your age. If a child is joked at or called stupid or unwanted, that doesn't reflect that they are. It reflects the poor behavior of their parents. But as children, we don't recognize that. We blame ourselves consciously or subconsciously. So what we have to do is really dig deep with the help of a therapist, with the help of books, with the help of talking. Before I get to the practical practice that we can do, I want to talk about the emotional bank account. So life is messy and hard situations happen to us as children and as adults. To gain a little bit more clarity, a good parent that makes mistakes is distinguished by depositing plenty of love and affirmations into their child that overwhelm the outbursts or the mistakes in parenting. So the child remains relatively healthy, feeling safe, loved, and feeling secure, feeling like they belong, feeling that they are supported. A toxic parent, however, lacks in depositing this love and affirmation in their child, and the poor behavior accumulates, draining the emotional bank account that is resembled in any relationship. So the child ends up feeling lack of security, lack of safety, feeling like they may be unwanted, undesired, unloved, unprotected, either consciously or subconsciously. So now as adults, how can we inch our way into more awareness of what happened in childhood and how we can subsequently gain more positive self-image and fix what has been maybe broken? Now, you may be already thinking, do I really have trauma or did I have a regular childhood? So I'm going to give you a series of questions to answer yes or no to. If you answer yes and these questions resonate with you, these are signals that you have unhealthy attachments to your parents as a result of minor or major traumatic events. So the first question is, do you find yourself in destructive or abusive relationships as an adult? Another one, do you believe that if you get too close to someone, they will hurt and abandon you? Another, do you have a hard time knowing who you are, what you feel, and what you want? Another, are you afraid that if people knew the real you, they wouldn't like you? Another, are you a perfectionist? Another, is it difficult for you to relax or have a good time? More, are many of your major life decisions based upon whether your parents would approve? Another, do you have intense emotional or physical reaction after you spend or anticipate spending time with your parents? Another, are you afraid to disagree with your parents? Another, do your parents manipulate you with threats or guilt? Another, do you feel responsible for how your parents feel? If they're unhappy, do you feel it's your fault? Is it your job to make it better for them? Another, do you believe that no matter what you do, it's never good enough for your parents? Another, do you believe that someday, somehow, your parents are going to change for the better? If you resonate with any of these, then this book is going to be very beneficial to you. And I prepared a set of affirmations that oppose each of those questions that you can repeat to yourself depending on which one resonates with you more. Repeating these affirmations daily will make subtle change in your subconscious mind, and it's going to make it easier for you to improve your self-image and to seek more and more improvement in a very smooth and easy way. So for the question that goes, do you find yourself in destructive or abusive relationships? If you resonate with that, your affirmation is, I'm learning to find myself in healthy, loving, and caring relationships. If you resonate with, do you believe if you get too close to someone, they will hurt you or abandon you? Your affirmation is, I'm learning not to fear abandonment or hurt if I get too close to someone. If you resonate with, do you have a hard time knowing who you are, what you feel, and what you want? Your affirmation is, I'm learning to have an easy time knowing who I am, what I feel, and what I want. If you resonate with, are you afraid that if people knew the real you, they wouldn't like you? Your affirmation is, I'm learning not to be afraid of being disliked if people got to know the real me. If you resonate with, are you a perfectionist? Your affirmation is, I'm learning that I don't have to be a perfectionist. If you resonate with, are many of your life decisions based upon whether your parents would approve? Your affirmation is, I'm learning that major life decisions are to be based on my own approval. If you resonate with, are you afraid to disagree with your parents? Your affirmation is, I'm learning not to be afraid to disagree with my parents. If you resonate with, do your parents manipulate you with threats or guilt? Your affirmation is, I'm learning not to be manipulated with threats or guilt. If you resonate with, do you feel responsible for how your parents feel? If they're unhappy, do you feel it's your fault? Is it your job to make it better for them? Your affirmation is, I'm learning not to feel responsible for how my parents feel. If they're unhappy, it is not my fault. It is not my job to make it better for them. If you resonate with, do you believe that no matter what you do, it's never good enough for your parents? Your affirmation is, I'm learning to accept that no matter what I do, it's never good enough for my parents. If you resonate with, do you believe that someday, somehow, your parents are going to change for the better? Your affirmation is, I'm learning to accept that my parents don't have to change for the better. I hope this was helpful. This is Hossam reminding you that whatever you desire is achievable. So keep improving every day, no matter how little.